When I moved to Easton, what I discovered is that there was, fantastic community and access to art. It's one of the reasons I moved to Easton is because we have museums, we have theater, we have this incredible cultural community here in Easton. But one thing that was missing a little bit was, I think, literature. Like, there weren't a lot of conversations about books in the public forums. There weren't a lot of visiting authors. And I think that's why I started Shorelit, was to help enhance, our fantastic local offerings, what already exists, with more conversations around books. One of the challenges of Shorelit, or getting, authors to come to the Eastern Shore or any rural community, is that it's not on the way, right? Which is what makes it such a great place to live. That's why we don't have traffic. That's why we don't have, all the kind of difficulties of more urban places. But it's not on the way, and there's not an obvious reason kind of commercially for authors to come. So a relationship with George Mason, or, writing and literature community like the one at George Mason, is fantastic, because authors are, I think every author that I've spoken to is interested in engaging with a community who takes their work seriously. So people will go out of their way to come have a conversation about their work if they feel that there is an audience there that's gonna be engaged and caring. And so my relationship with George Mason has been really helpful, because I get to meet so many authors who are willing to take a chance and spending at least 24 hours to come out here, do an event, stay overnight, all of that stuff, because they trust that there's going to be an engaged audience here. We had a fantastic program in June with the Academy Art Museum. Rian Almacar Scott was on stage with Dale Green. Many people locally know Dale Green as a historian and architect who is interested in the Hill community. He was on stage with the creative writer, Rian Almacar Scott, who is born and raised in Maryland and imagines his kind of theme for several of his books has been set in a fictional town called Cross River, Maryland, that imagines the community started by the first successful slave revolt in American history. So it was a really fun conversation, because we are putting together somebody who studies free Black communities with somebody who imagines them. The spring of 2023 is going to be really exciting. We have a fantastic author, a fiction writer, Jung Yoon, whose latest book is Oh Beautiful. It was on several of best of lists for 2021. The paperback edition is just about to come out. And so she's going to be here talking about this novel, which is set in the Badlands, and about the oil drilling industry there and how it's affected this tiny rural community. Our second event in March is going to be at the Academy Art Museum as well. Lawrence Weschler, who is an absolute legend, is coming. He was a New Yorker writer for decades. I think what's exciting about Lawrence Weschler is that he writes about European history. His family, was Jewish and fled during the Holocaust. So he has he spent his journalistic career kind of writing about issues of war crimes, but he's also an art critic. He writes about art with a sense of wonder and curiosity that is absolutely infectious, and his insights are always incredible. You walk away from any essay he wrote thinking, like, you can't wait to go look at the world, because he's showing you this new way of seeing. And then I'm doing an eco-poetry event with the Talbot County Free Library for Earth Day. So I think if I'm thinking about the mission of Shorelit, when I had to sit down and kind of write it out, the three things that were most important to me were fostering relevant conversations, building inclusive community, and engaging literary ideas. So when I think about the books that make sense, or the authors that make sense for Shorelit, I look for a diversity of opinions and genres. So I'm looking for perspectives in fiction, nonfiction, poetry. I'm also looking for perspectives from different types of writers. So that diversity is really important to me, and I think it's important to our community too.